Tae-won Kim loved watching the sunrise over New Terra Prime. Every morning, the 8-year-old boy would climb onto the roof of his family's house and watch as the twin suns painted the sky in shades of orange and pink. His mother, Da-eun, would call him down for breakfast, but he always wanted just one more minute to see the beautiful colors. Today felt different. The sky looked darker somehow, even though the suns were shining bright. Tae-won rubbed his eyes and looked again. There were shapes in the sky that did not belong there. Big dark shapes that blocked out parts of the light. "Mom," he called down through the window. "There are strange clouds in the sky." Da-eun Kim was getting ready for her work at the medical center. She was one of the best doctors on New Terra Prime, and people depended on her. When she heard her son's voice, she came outside to look. What she saw made her blood turn cold. Those were not clouds. They were ships. Alien ships. Hundreds of them floating in the sky like giant metal mountains. "Tae-won, come down right now," she said, trying to keep her voice calm. She did not want to scare her son, but fear was growing in her heart like ice. Across the colony, other people were seeing the same thing. Woo-jin Park, who managed the colony's daily operations, was in his office when his communication device started buzzing with emergency calls. He was Tae-won's uncle, Da-eun's brother, and he had helped build this peaceful world from nothing. "Sir, you need to see this," said his assistant, pointing at the window. Woo-jin looked up and felt his stomach drop. The alien ships were so big they covered half the sky. He had never seen anything like them. No human had. At the security station, Hyun-soo Lee was already putting his team on high alert. He was an older man who had fought in wars back on Earth before coming to New Terra Prime for a quiet life. He thought his fighting days were over. Now, looking at those ships, he knew he was wrong. "Get everyone to the emergency shelters," he told his officers. "Send out the colony-wide alert. And try to contact Earth. They need to know what's happening here." But even as he gave the orders, Hyun-soo knew it was probably too late. Earth was 6 months away by the fastest ship. Whatever these aliens wanted, the colonists would have to face it alone. In the agricultural fields outside the main settlement, So Young Choi was checking on the crop sensors when the ships appeared. She was a scientist who had spent her whole life making plants grow in alien soil. She understood how to make life flourish on new worlds. She did not understand war. The ships began to descend. They were massive things, black as space itself, with sharp edges that looked like they could cut through anything. As they came closer, the colonists could see weapons on their hulls. Lots of weapons. One ship, bigger than all the rest, landed in the center of the colony's main square. The ground shook like an earthquake. Windows broke. Children cried. The ship's landing ramp came down with a hiss of alien air. What came out was not human. The aliens were tall, maybe 8 feet high, with gray skin that looked like stone. They had forearms and eyes that glowed red in the dim light. They wore armor that seemed to be made of the same black metal as their ships. When they walked, their feet made clicking sounds on the ground. The leader was bigger than the others. Scars covered his face and arms. His armor had symbols that probably meant he was important. His name was War Commander Thexaval, though the humans did not know this yet. Thexaval looked around at the human colony with eyes that had seen many worlds burn. To him, New Terra Prime looked weak. The buildings were small and peaceful. The humans looked soft. He had conquered 47 different species across the galaxy, and humans looked like they would be the easiest yet. "People of this world," Thexval spoke, and somehow his words came out in human language. "I am War Commander Thexval of the Vorthak Empire. You are now our subjects. You will give us tribute. You will work for us. You will obey." Woo-jin Park stepped forward. He was scared, but he was also responsible for his people. "We are a peaceful colony. We have no weapons. We have no army. Surely we can talk about this and find a solution that works for everyone." Thexval made a sound that might have been laughter, but it was not a happy sound. "Talk? You think you can negotiate with the Vorthak Empire? We have conquered star systems. We have destroyed entire civilizations. You are insects compared to us." Around the square, more alien soldiers were appearing. They had weapons that hummed with energy. They pointed these weapons at the humans who had gathered to see what was happening. "You have 1 day to prepare your tribute," Thexval continued. "Food, metal, workers. Everything we demand. If you refuse, we will take what we want anyway, and you will suffer for making us wait." Da-eun held Tae-won close to her chest. The boy was not crying, but she could feel him shaking. She wanted to tell him everything would be okay, but she was not sure if that was true. Hyun-Soo Lee watched from the security station. His hands were on his weapons, but he knew they would be useless against alien technology. Still, he started making plans. If these aliens thought humans would just lie down and accept slavery, they were wrong. So Young Choi thought about her crops, her life's work. She thought about the children playing in the fields just that morning. Now everything was different. Everything was broken. The war commander looked around at the human faces. He saw fear, which was good. Fear made slaves obedient. He did not see the anger that was starting to grow. He did not see the determination. He had conquered too many weak species, and he thought all species were weak. "Remember this day," Thexval said as he walked back to his ship. "This is the day you learned your place in the galaxy." But the war commander was wrong about one thing. This was not the day humans learned their place. This was the day the Vorthak Empire made the biggest mistake in its long and bloody history. They had awakened something they did not understand. Something that would not stay sleeping for long. 3 weeks had passed since the Vorthak Empire came to New Terra Prime. 3 weeks of fear, hunger, and anger. The aliens had taken most of the colony's food. They had forced people to work in their ships and mines. They treated humans like animals, but humans were not animals. And some of them were starting to fight back. Hyun-Soo Lee moved through the forest outside the colony like a ghost. He had been a soldier once back on Earth, and those skills had not left him. Behind him, 6 other colonists followed. They were farmers and teachers and engineers, but they had learned to be warriors. "The supply convoy comes through here every morning," Hyun-Soo whispered to his team. "Same time, same route. These aliens think they're so smart, but they're lazy. They don't change their patterns." The colonists had been watching the Vorthak for weeks. They had learned that the aliens were confident. Maybe too confident. They had conquered so many worlds that they thought nothing could hurt them. They did not expect resistance from weak humans. Ji-Hoon Lim, who used to teach children before the invasion, checked his homemade bomb. "Are you sure this will work?" "It will work," said Hyun-Soo. So Young designed it herself. She knows chemistry better than anyone. So Young Choi had been very busy since the invasion. During the day, she worked in the alien mines like they forced her to. At night, she worked on other things. Things that could hurt Vorthak soldiers. Things that could blow up their vehicles. The convoy appeared on schedule. 3 alien vehicles flying low over the forest path. They carried food stolen from human farms and metal taken from human factories. The Vorthak soldiers inside were talking and laughing. They felt safe. They were wrong. Hyun-Soo's bomb exploded under the middle vehicle. The machine crashed into the trees with a sound like thunder. The other 2 vehicles stopped, and alien soldiers came out with their weapons ready. But the humans were already gone, disappeared into the forest like smoke. This was how they fought now. Hit fast, run fast, hide, and hit again somewhere else. In the colony's main square, War Commander Thexval was angry. Very angry. This was the 5th attack in 10 days. Humans kept hitting his supply lines, then vanishing before his soldiers could catch them. It was embarrassing. "Sub-Commander Grixnell," he called to one of his officers. Grixnell was smaller than Thexval, but just as cruel. His forearms were covered in scars from many battles. His red eyes glowed with excitement when he heard violence in his commander's voice. "Yes, War Commander? These insects are annoying me," Thexval said. "They think they can sting us without consequences. Show them they are wrong. Make an example that will stop this nonsense." Grixnell smiled, showing teeth like broken glass. "What kind of example, War Commander?" "A loud one. A memorable one. Something that will make the other humans too scared to lift their heads." Grixnell nodded and left to gather his soldiers. He had ideas about how to teach humans proper fear. That afternoon, Taiwan Kim was playing in what used to be the colony's park. Most of the playground equipment was broken now, smashed by alien vehicles. But there was still a small area with grass and flowers that So Young had planted. Taiwan had drawn a picture. It showed humans and aliens standing together, smiling. In his 8-year-old mind, he thought maybe if the aliens saw that humans wanted to be friends, they would stop being mean. His mother, Da-Yoon, was nearby at the medical center. She was treating a human worker who had been hurt in the mines. The aliens made people work long hours with dangerous equipment. There were accidents every day. "Hold still," Dawn told her patient. "This will hurt for a moment, but then you'll feel better." She was a good doctor, but these days her job was harder. The aliens had taken most of her medical supplies. She had to be creative, making medicine from plants and fixing broken bones with pieces of metal. Woo-Jin Park was in his office, trying to keep the colony running. The aliens had made him their contact person with the humans. They told him what they wanted and he had to make it happen. It was a terrible job, but someone had to do it. His communication device beeped. There was a message from the resistance. Hyunsu's team had hit another convoy. This made Woo-Jin happy and scared at the same time. Happy because the aliens were suffering, scared because he knew they would want revenge. Sub-Commander Grixenal was walking through the residential area with 6 soldiers. They were looking for humans to make an example of. Someone young would be best. Children made the loudest screams, and screams were what he wanted. He saw Taiwan sitting alone by the broken playground. Perfect. The alien soldiers approached the boy slowly. Taiwan looked up and saw them coming. He was not scared. In his young mind, adults were supposed to protect children, even alien adults. "Hello," Taiwan said in his small voice. He held up his drawing. "I made this for you, see? We can be friends." Grixenal looked at the picture. He saw humans and aliens standing together peacefully. The idea disgusted him. Peace was weakness. Friendship was weakness. This child was teaching other humans weakness. "What is your name, little human?" Grixenal asked. His voice sounded friendly, but his red eyes were cold. "Taewon Kim," the boy said proudly. "My mom is a doctor. She helps people feel better. My uncle runs the colony." "What's your name?" "I am Sub-Commander Grixenal," the alien said. "And I am here to teach your people a lesson." Dayun had finished treating her patient and was walking toward the park to collect her son. She saw the alien soldiers surrounding Taewon and started running. "Taewon!" she called. "Come here, baby." But she was too far away. Grixenal pulled out his weapon. It was an energy pistol that could burn through metal. He pointed it at the small boy who was still holding his picture of friendship. "Let this be a lesson to all humans," Grixenal announced loudly. "Resistance brings consequences." Other colonists had heard Daun scream and came running. They saw what was happening and tried to reach the boy. But the alien soldiers kept them back with their weapons. Taewon looked confused. He did not understand why the alien was pointing a weapon at him. He had only wanted to be friends. "Please," Daun begged, still running toward her son. "He's just a child." "He doesn't understand. Please don't hurt him." Grixenal looked at her with his cold red eyes. "Your child will teach you the price of defiance." The energy weapon fired with a sound like thunder. Taewon Kim fell to the ground, his picture of friendship scattered in the wind. Da-Yun's scream could be heard across the entire colony. It was a sound of pure pain, pure loss, pure rage. Other humans started screaming too. Some cried. Some fell to their knees. Woo-Jin Park heard the screams from his office and knew something terrible had happened. He ran outside and saw his nephew lying still in the grass. The boy who had climbed on his roof every morning to watch the sunrise would never see another dawn. Hyun-Soo Lee heard the screams from the forest where he was planning another attack. He knew that sound. He had heard it in wars before. It was the sound people made when something precious was destroyed forever. So Young Choi was in her laboratory when she heard the news. She had been making medicines to help sick colonists. Now she started making something else. Something that would make aliens very, very sick. Grixenal looked around at the crying humans with satisfaction. This would stop their stupid resistance. Fear was a better teacher than kindness. But as he walked away, he did not see the looks on human faces. He saw tears and thought they meant surrender. He did not see the anger burning behind those tears. He did not see the determination growing in human hearts. The aliens had made their point, but they had also made a mistake. They had awakened something in humanity that they did not understand, something that would not rest until justice was done. In a hidden corner of the colony, a quantum communication array that Woo-Jin had kept secret finally powered up. It sent a message toward Earth, carrying video of what had just happened. The message would take months to arrive, but when it did, everything would change. The Vorthak Empire thought they had won a victory that day. They thought they had taught humans their place. They were wrong. 6 months after Taewon Kim died, his last message reached Earth. Admiral Jin-Ho Kang was drinking his morning coffee in Earth Defense Headquarters when the communication arrived. He was a calm man, known for never losing his temper, He had commanded fleets in 3 different wars and had seen terrible things. But when he watched the video from New Terra Prime, his coffee cup shattered in his hand. The video was short but clear. It showed a small boy offering friendship to alien soldiers. It showed those soldiers killing him while his mother screamed. It showed the aliens walking away like nothing had happened. "Get me the Defense Council," Admiral Kang said to his assistant. His voice was very quiet, but there was something dangerous in it. "Get me every fleet commander. Get me the president, and get me a full report on this Vorthak Empire." Within hours, the video was being watched by every important person on Earth. Then it spread to the news networks, then to the public networks. Soon, every human in the solar system had seen 8-year-old Taewon Kim die. The reaction was immediate and powerful. Dr. Yoonji Nam was Earth's best expert on alien psychology. She had studied dozens of alien species and knew how their minds worked. When she watched the video, she understood something important. "They think we're weak," she told the Defense Council. "They killed the child to make us afraid. But they don't understand humans at all. They don't know what they've just done." President Han Sol-yoon had been trying to keep peace in the galaxy for 15 years. He believed in diplomacy and discussion. But when he saw Taewon Kim's murder, something changed in his eyes. "How many ships do we have?" he asked Admiral Kang. 800 military vessels," the admiral replied. "But if we call up the reserves, the merchant marine, the mining ships?" "Call them all," the president said. "Every ship that can carry a weapon. Every person who can fire a gun. The Vorthak Empire wants to see what humans are capable of. Let's show them." Captain Bo-Ram Lee was Hyun-Soo Lee's sister. She commanded the Special Forces unit called the Ghost Battalion. When she saw the video of her nephew's murder, she requested immediate deployment to New Terra Prime. "It will take a year to get there," Admiral Kang told her. "Maybe longer." "Then we better start now," Bo-Ram replied. "My brother is fighting aliens with farming tools. He needs real soldiers with real weapons." Across human space, the reaction was the same everywhere. Anger, pure, burning anger. Shipyards that built cargo vessels started building warships. Factories that made farming equipment started making weapons. Scientists who studied peaceful things started studying how to kill Vorthak soldiers. Dr. Min-ho Seo had spent his life creating medicines to heal people. Now he was creating poisons to kill aliens. "They have different biology than us," he explained to his team. "Their blood chemistry, their nervous system, their organs. If we design the right toxins, we can hurt them badly without harming humans." Meanwhile, on New Terra Prime, the resistance was growing stronger. Da-Woon Kim had not spoken much since her son died. She worked in the medical center during the day, treating injured humans. At night, she worked on other projects. She had access to Vorthak biology from treating their wounded slaves. She was learning their weaknesses. "Their respiratory system is very sensitive," she told Hyun-Soo Lee during a secret meeting. "A chemical that would just make humans cough could kill them in minutes." So Young Choi had turned her agricultural laboratory into a weapons factory. She was making explosives from fertilizer and poison from plant extracts. Her gentle hands that had once grown flowers now built devices of death. "The aliens inspect our food supplies," she explained to the resistance, "but they don't understand our plants. I can hide weapons in fruit containers. I can put poison in their drinking water. They trust their technology, but they don't understand nature." Woojin Park was playing a dangerous game. During the day, he worked with the aliens as their human contact. At night, he fed information to the resistance. He had kept the quantum communication array secret, and now he was using it to talk to other human colonies. "Earth is coming," he told the resistance leaders, "but we can't just wait. We need to be ready. When our people arrive, we need to hit the aliens from inside while they hit them from outside." The Vorthak had noticed that human resistance was getting stronger, but they thought it was just the last struggles of a dying species. War Commander Thexval was confident that his forces could handle any human attack. "They are like insects," he told his officers. "Sometimes insects bite before they die. It means nothing." Sub-Commander Grixnall was not so sure. The human attacks were getting more sophisticated. Their bombs were better designed. Their poison was more effective. And there was something in human eyes now that had not been there before. Something dangerous. "Maybe we should send more ships," he suggested to Thexval. "Request reinforcements from the Empire." Thexval laughed. "Reinforcements? To fight farmers and children? The Empire would think I was a coward. No, we can handle these humans ourselves." But on Earth, Admiral Kang was building something the Vorthak had never faced before. Not just a military fleet, but an entire civilization focused on one goal: revenge. Ship factories worked day and night. New weapons were designed and tested. Soldiers trained for combat in alien environments. Scientists studied every piece of information about Vorthak technology. Dr. Yoonji Nam had assembled a team of experts to understand the enemy. The Vorthak have conquered 47 species, she reported. But they always use the same methods. Overwhelming force, then brutal examples to break resistance. They've never faced a species that gets stronger when you hurt them. What do you mean? Asked Admiral Kang. Most species they conquer are already unified. When the Vorthak break their unity, they collapse. But humans are different. We fight with each other all the time. We're used to conflict. When an outside enemy threatens us, we don't break apart. We come together. Captain Boram Lee was training her soldiers for the mission to New Terra Prime. We're not going there to liberate a colony, she told them. We're going there to deliver justice. Every one of those aliens chose to be part of a system that murders children. They all share the guilt. The soldiers understood. This would not be a normal military operation. This would be a reckoning. Back on New Terra Prime, the resistance had grown from a few dozen fighters to several hundred. They had weapons now, real weapons, stolen from alien supply depots or built in hidden workshops. They had communication networks that connected every settlement on the planet. Most importantly, they had hope. The ships from Earth will be here soon, Hyun-Soo Lee told his fighters. Our job is to make sure the aliens are looking the wrong way when they arrive. Taeyoon Kim listened to the plan and nodded. She had her own mission. Sub-Commander Grixnell came to the medical center sometimes when he was injured. He trusted her to treat his wounds because he thought humans were too weak to threaten him. He was wrong about that too. As the Earth fleet moved through space toward New Terra Prime, every ship carried the same image painted on its hull, a picture of a small boy holding a drawing of friendship. Below the picture were words in every human language. Remember Taewon Kim. The Vorthak Empire thought they had taught humans a lesson about power and fear. Soon they would learn a lesson themselves. They would learn what happens when you hurt something that an entire species loves. They would learn that humans can be the kindest people in the galaxy, or the most terrible, and the choice was never theirs to make. 1 year after Taewon Kim died, the human fleet arrived at New Terra Prime. Admiral Jin Ho Kang stood on the bridge of the flagship Vengeance, watching the alien ships through his view screen. 847 human vessels had made the journey. Warships, converted cargo haulers, mining platforms with weapons bolted to their hulls, even luxury yachts carrying special forces teams. Every ship had the same painting on its side. A small boy holding a picture of friendship. All ships, this is Admiral Kang, he spoke into his communicator. Remember why we're here. Remember what they did. No alien leaves this system alive. The Vorthak were caught completely by surprise. War Commander Thexval had been confident that humans were too weak and too far away to threaten him. When his sensors detected the approaching fleet, he could not believe what he was seeing. How many ships? He demanded of his sensor operator. Over 800, War Commander. All human vessels. They're surrounding the planet. Thexval felt something he had not experienced in decades. Fear. His own fleet had only 200 ships. They were better armed and better armored than human vessels, but the numbers were overwhelming. Send a message to Earth Command, he ordered. Tell them we are willing to negotiate. We can discuss terms of surrender. But Admiral Kang was not interested in surrender. When the Vorthak message arrived, he deleted it without reading it. All ships begin attack pattern 7, he commanded. Target their largest vessels first. No warnings, no mercy. The space battle began with a fury that shook the planet below. Human ships attacked from every direction at once. They had studied Vorthak tactics for a year and knew exactly how to counter them. Where alien ships expected attacks from the front, humans struck from behind. Where aliens concentrated their defenses, humans found gaps. Captain Boram Lee was not in space. She was already on the planet's surface with her ghost battalion. While the aliens watched the sky battle, she was leading her soldiers through the forests toward the colony. Hyun-Soo Lee had been waiting for this moment for a year. When his sister's signal came through on his hidden communicator, he smiled for the first time since his nephew died. All resistance units, this is Ghost Leader, Boram's voice said. The party has started. Time to light the candles. Across New Terra Prime, explosions began blooming like deadly flowers. So Young Choi's bombs destroyed alien communication towers. Hidden human fighters attacked supply depots. Poison clouds drifted through alien barracks. The Vorthak ground forces found themselves fighting two wars at once. Their ships were burning in orbit while their bases were exploding around them. Sub-Commander Grixnall was in the medical center when the attack began. He had been wounded in a recent resistance bombing and had come to the human doctor for treatment. He trusted Dao and Kim to heal him because he thought humans were too weak to be dangerous. He was about to learn how wrong he had been. Dawn looked at the alien who had murdered her son. For a year, she had been planning this moment. For a year, she had been preparing the perfect weapon. "This injection will help with the pain," she told Grixnall, holding up a syringe filled with clear liquid. The sub-commander did not know that the liquid was a poison specifically designed for Vorthak biology. It would not kill him quickly. Taijun wanted him to have time to understand what was happening. "You killed my son," she said quietly as she pushed the needle into his arm. His name was Taewon Kim. He was 8 years old. He wanted to be friends with you. Grixnall felt the poison entering his bloodstream. His forearms began to shake. His red eyes started to dim. You cannot do this. I'm a Vorthak officer. I am protected by the laws of war." Dayun's face was calm as death. "What laws of war protect children? You showed no mercy to my son. I will show none to you." As Grixnall collapsed, Dayun walked to the window. Outside, she could see alien soldiers running in panic as human fighters attacked them. In the sky, Vorthak ships were exploding in brilliant flashes of light. Her son would never see another sunrise, but at least he would have justice. In space, Admiral Kang was directing the battle from his flagship. The Vorthak ships were fighting hard, but they were outnumbered and surrounded. One by one, they were being destroyed. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we're receiving a surrender message from the Vorthak commander." "Delete it," Admiral Kang said without looking. "Keep firing." War Commander Thexaval watched his fleet dying around him. Half his ships were already destroyed. The others were heavily damaged. He had never seen humans fight like this. They attacked with a fury that seemed almost insane. "War Commander," his second officer said, "we must retreat. If we stay, we will all die." "Retreat to where?" Thexval replied bitterly. "They have us surrounded. There is nowhere to run." On the planet, Captain Boram Lee had reached the main alien base. Her ghost battalion moved through the complex like shadows, striking down alien soldiers with precise efficiency. They had trained for this mission for a year, and every movement was perfect. Woojin Park was with them, guiding them through the base he knew so well. For a year, he had pretended to cooperate with the aliens while secretly gathering intelligence. Now all that information was paying off. "The command center is through here," he told Boram. "Thexval's personal guards will be waiting." "Good," Boram replied, checking her weapon. "I've been wanting to meet them." The Ghost Battalion fought their way through the alien guards with deadly skill. These were not farmers or scientists fighting with homemade weapons. These were Earth's best soldiers, armed with the most advanced human technology. Yun-Su Lee was fighting in the residential district where his nephew had died. Every alien soldier he killed was another step toward justice. Every explosion was another payment on the debt they owed. So Young Choi was in her laboratory mixing her deadliest poison. The ventilation system would carry it through the entire alien complex. Within hours, every Vorthak on the planet would be dead. "This is for Taewon," she whispered as she activated the dispersal system. In orbit, the last Vorthak ships were falling. Admiral Kang watched as War Commander Thexval's flagship exploded in a ball of fire. The alien who had ordered the occupation of New Terra Prime would never hurt another child. "All ships, this is Admiral Kang," he announced. "Primary objectives complete. Begin search and rescue operations for human survivors." But the rescue operations would have to wait. Captain Boram Lee was sending a message from the surface. "Admiral, this is Ghost Leader. We have the main alien base under control. All enemy ground forces eliminated. The colony is secure." Admiral Kang felt a weight lifting from his shoulders. They had done it. They had delivered justice for Taewon Kim. As the sun rose over New Terra Prime, human soldiers were gathering in the colony's main square. The same square where a small boy had been murdered 1 year ago. Now alien bodies lay where he had fallen. Daeun Kim walked slowly to the spot where her son had died. The grass had grown back, green and peaceful. She knelt down and placed a small flower on the ground. It's finished, baby, she whispered. They can't hurt anyone else now. Woojin Park stood nearby, watching his sister grieve. He thought about his nephew's drawing of humans and aliens living in peace. That dream had died with the boy, but maybe someday there could be peace again. Peace built on justice instead of fear. Hyun-Soo Lee embraced his sister Boram for the first time in years. They were both soldiers now, both warriors shaped by loss and hardened by war. But they were still family. So Young Choi looked at her hands. They had grown flowers and food for peaceful colonists. Then they had built weapons and poison for war. Now she wondered what they would grow next. The battle for New Terra Prime was over. Every Vorthak ship was destroyed. Every alien soldier was dead, but Admiral Kang knew this was just the beginning. All ships prepare for hyperspace jump, he ordered. We have more work to do. The Vorthak Empire controlled 12 star systems. In each system, they had enslaved other species and murdered their children. Admiral Kang intended to visit every one of those systems. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when you hurt something that humanity loved. The lesson would be written in fire and blood across the stars. 2 years after the battle at New Terra Prime, the Vorthak Empire no longer existed. Admiral Jin Ho Kang stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking down at the last Vorthak stronghold. The planet Vorthak Prime had been the center of their empire for 300 years. Now human ships surrounded it like a steel net. Sir, his communications officer said, we're receiving surrender offers from 17 different alien factions down there. They all claim they were forced to serve the Vorthak against their will. Admiral Kang had heard the same story at 11 other star systems. Every species that had served the Vorthak suddenly claimed they had been unwilling slaves. Some of them were telling the truth. Others were not. Tell them the same thing we told the others, Admiral Kang replied. Anyone who can prove they protected civilians will be spared. Anyone who participated in murder will face justice. Dr. Yoonji Nam was working with alien refugees across the galaxy. The fall of the Vorthak Empire had freed dozens of enslaved species, but freedom was not always easy. Some aliens had been slaves for so long they did not know how to live without masters. The humans want to help us? Asked Veltar, a representative of the Kalani people. His species had been conquered by the Vorthak 50 years ago. But why? What do they want from us? Dr. Nam smiled gently. They want you to be free. They want your children to be safe. That's all. Veltar looked confused. In his experience, one species only helped another when they wanted something in return. The idea of helping just because it was right was hard for him to understand. I don't understand humans, he admitted. Neither did the Vorthak, Dr. Nam replied. That's why they're gone and you're free. On New Terra Prime, life was slowly returning to normal. The colony had been rebuilt, bigger and stronger than before. New families had come to live there, drawn by the story of the people who had fought back against impossible odds. Daeun Kim was still the colony's chief medical officer. She treated humans and aliens equally, healing anyone who needed help. But sometimes, late at night, she would visit the memorial garden that had been built where her son died. The garden was beautiful. Flowers from dozens of worlds grew there, brought by alien species who had heard the story of Taewon Kim. At the center stood a statue of a small boy holding a picture of friendship. The words below were written in every known language. Remember the innocent. I have visitors for you today, baby, Da-un whispered to the statue. She did this often, talking to her son as if he could hear her. A group of young aliens approached the memorial. They were children from the Kalani species, brought to New Terra Prime to learn about human culture. Their teacher, an older Kalani female, bowed respectfully to Da-un. We come to honor the small human, the teacher said in careful human language. His story teaches our children that peace must be protected. Da-un watched as the alien children placed flowers at the base of the statue. They did not fully understand what had happened here, but they understood that something important had begun in this place, something that had changed the galaxy. Woojin Park was no longer just a colony administrator. He had become humanity's first ambassador to the Free Worlds Alliance, a new organization of species that had been liberated from the Vorthak. His job was to help former slaves learn how to govern themselves. The humans teach us about democracy, Veltar told him during one of their meetings, but we have never chosen our own leaders before. We are afraid of making mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, Woojin assured him. The important thing is learning from them and trying to do better next time. Captain Boram Lee had returned to Earth as a hero. Her Ghost Battalion had become famous throughout human space. But she had not stayed on Earth long. There was still work to do in the galaxy. Now she commanded a new unit called the Justice Corps. Their mission was to hunt down war criminals who had escaped when the Vorthak Empire collapsed. Many former Vorthak officers had tried to hide among refugee populations or flee to distant star systems. Justice delayed is justice denied, Boram told her soldiers. Every war criminal we catch is another child who will sleep safely tonight. Hyun-Soo Lee had chosen to stay on New Terra Prime. He was too old for active military service, but he trained young security officers from all the liberated worlds. His academy had become famous throughout the Free Worlds Alliance. Fighting is not about being strong, he taught his students. It's about protecting what you love. If you remember that, you will never lose. So Young Choi had returned to her first love, making things grow. Her new agricultural research station supplied food to refugee camps across the galaxy, but she also taught other scientists how to make weapons from farming equipment, just in case they ever needed to defend themselves. Plants can heal or poison, she told her students. Technology can build or destroy. Knowledge can free or enslave. The choice is always ours to make. On Earth, President Han Sol-yoon was meeting with representatives from 43 different alien species. They were writing a new treaty called the Galactic Peace Accord. Its first rule was simple. Anyone who harms a child faces the judgment of all member species. The Vorthak thought children were easy targets, President Yoon explained to the alien delegates. They thought hurting the innocent would make us afraid. Instead, it showed them what humans become when our children are threatened. Admiral Kang had retired from active service, but he still served as an advisor to the Earth Defense Force. Young officers came to learn from the man who had destroyed an entire empire in 2 years. "How did you do it, sir?" asked Lieutenant Commander Ji-Sung Park, a young officer eager to understand strategy and tactics. "We didn't do anything special," Admiral Kang replied. "We just refused to let evil go unpunished." The Vorthak had forgotten that every action has consequences. We reminded them. In the Memorial Garden on New Terra Prime, a new statue had been added. It showed all the people who had fought to avenge Taewon Kim. His mother, his uncle, the resistance fighters, the soldiers from Earth. But at the center, the statue of the small boy still stood, holding his picture of friendship. Mijin Park, Taewon's cousin, was now grown up. She had become New Terra Prime's first mayor. Every year on the anniversary of her cousin's death, she gave a speech to visitors from across the galaxy. "My cousin believed that humans and aliens could be friends," she told the crowd of mixed species. He was right. But friendship must be built on respect and justice, not fear and submission. That's what we learned here. That's what we teach our children, Dr. Yoon-ji. Nam had written a book about the war, called The Price of Innocence. It was required, reading in schools throughout human space, and had been translated into dozens of alien languages. The book explained how the murder of one child had changed the balance of power in the galaxy. The Vorthak made a simple mistake, she wrote in the conclusion. They thought that might makes right. They thought that fear was stronger than love. They thought that killing a child would break human resistance. Instead, they discovered that some things in the universe are sacred. And when you violate the sacred, you face the wrath of everyone who still believes in goodness. 50 years after Taewon Kim's death, Da-Eun Kim was an old woman. She still visited the memorial garden every day, tending the flowers that came from worlds across the galaxy. Alien children often played in the garden, laughing and running between the flower beds. She watched them with peaceful eyes. These children would grow up in a galaxy where peace was protected by justice, where the strong defended the weak, where innocence was sacred. "Look, baby," she whispered to her son's statue. "Look how many friends you have now." The garden was full of life. Children of a dozen different species played together, their parents watching with smiles. Above them, the twin suns of New Terra Prime painted the sky in shades of gold and pink, just like the mornings when a small boy used to climb on his roof to watch the sunrise. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Some things were too precious to lose. Some lines could never be crossed. Some prices were too high to pay. And if anyone ever forgot that lesson, humanity would be there to remind them. The universe was vast and full of wonders. There were species yet undiscovered, worlds yet unexplored, friendships yet unmade. But in every corner of known space, from the oldest civilizations to the newest colonies, every parent told their children the same story. The story of a small boy who wanted to make friends. The story of the people who loved him. The story of what happened when evil thought it could hurt the innocent without consequences. The story of how the galaxy learned that humans could be the gentlest gardeners or the most terrible warriors. And the choice was never theirs to make. In the end, Tae-Won Kim had gotten his wish. Humans and aliens were friends now, living together in peace. But it was a peace built on justice, protected by strength, and guaranteed by the promise that anyone who harmed a child would face the judgment of all who loved the light. And in gardens across the galaxy, flowers bloomed in memory of innocence while children played safely in the sunshine, protected by the knowledge that goodness would always triumph over evil. Because some things in the universe are sacred, and humanity never forgets.